when it comes to the close of the session, there is no rest for anybody. Certainly not the minority leader of the House, Demis Klarides, who is with us today. And Demis, it's always good to see you. Thank you so much for stopping by.
My pleasure.
You know, this is a tough time. I mean, it's a really tough time, and the last 6 weeks have been kind of brutal in trying to piece all of these various ideas and elements together. How do you see things as we come to closer to the close, maybe not even closing by the time people see this?
I see it as almost an embarrassment of leadership, to be honest with you. I have many friends on the other side of the aisle, but I'm here to make sure we do the most responsible thing for the state of Connecticut, as each and every one of us is. And the notion that the Democrat leadership in the House and Senate has been name-calling like children the governor back and forth for the past few weeks, where we put out a budget, the House and Senate Republicans, the Democrats in the House and Senate put out their budget, and the governor's put out several budgets. And they're calling him names for days, and then all of a sudden, in the dark of night yesterday, miraculously a deal occurs. At 3 o'clock this morning, I got a one-page summary of what the hundreds and hundreds of page budget will look like. As of 11 o'clock this morning, I still didn't have all the documentation, and as of now, 3 o'clock on the last day of session, we don't even have a bill. So I don't know what's going to happen today. I would prefer it if we could take a look at it, figure out what we like, what we don't like, and what our arguments are going to be, because people elect us to look at these things seriously. This is a $20 billion budget. You know, this isn't a bill about can your dog run freely or not.
Well, your caucus looks to you to come to them with the information that they need to make that decision. And obviously, it's been more than a little difficult for you to come up with the information, much less to be able to pass it along.
Right, because we rely on the majority to give us that information, and if they don't have it because they either don't have the information, they don't have a bill available, you know, what have you. But either way, the budget they've put together, and listen, I understand it was their effort, and I respect the effort that they put forth. But this is now the fourth budget we've put together in 11 months. That's unprecedented. For people who are watching, usually we do one budget in 11 months. So 4 budgets, and every time we've put together a budget, they take the perspective of, let's just fix this problem today, and hopefully the problem goes away tomorrow. When every financial person in the world has said, this is not going to change, you have a problem here. So they continue to stick gum in a hole. We decided we don't like your way of doing it because it's clearly not working. We're facing a $1 billion deficit for the next year. We're facing $2.1 billion for the year after that, 2.4, 2.8 billion. We came up with a 5-year plan, which is something nobody's ever done in this building, because we need to fix the problem down the road with structural changes and real things that really change the course of the state. We have a wonderful state, but if we continue down this road fiscally, nobody will be left here to enjoy it.
That 5-year plan, what was included in it that will preclude facing similar situations such as last year and this year?
Well, first of all, there's many line-by-line budget changes that would obviously be too numerous to mention. But we took it from a deficit every year to a surplus, including this year. And some of the structural changes we're talking about down the road are implementing a spending cap, which the state of Connecticut overwhelmingly approved in 1992. It's 2016 now. 1992, we've never enacted a spending cap. So it allows whoever's in the majority to continue moving money around like a shell game and claiming, see, we're now under the spending cap. A bond cap. When Governor Malloy took office in 2011, there was approximately $1.2 billion bonded every year. Last year, we were up to $2.5 billion. We say, let's bring it back to 1.2. Nobody complained when it was at 1.2. We want to be able to vote on budgets, mandatory vote on union contracts. We want to have a supermajority of votes when we get put an unfunded mandate on a city and town, because they suffer under the weight of our failed leadership.
Well, however this budget plays out by midnight or going forward, there are going to be sufferings going on by a lot of people all over, from those on the state level who lose their jobs to those who are looking for the services that will not be there, and many municipalities that'll be suffering job losses too, I suspect, along the way.
Right, and in our 5-year proposal, we made sure that we flat-funded municipalities, number one, so they're not losing money. But more importantly for them, we gave them the predictability of knowing we must pass a budget that affects them by April 1st so they are able to do their own budgets. As I mentioned before, supermajority vote on any unfunded mandates, because that's what's crippling the towns and cities. When we go to hospitals, make sure we protect the most vulnerable. Because whether you're Republican or Democrat, I think we all agree that our priority is the people who need our help the most. So whether it's the disabled population, hospitals, social services, we gave a 1% COLA increase.
And we've seen a bunch of cuts on that even before this latest budget.
But I mean, the nonprofit providers who do it better than the state does it. We gave them a very well-deserved pay increase. Not a lot, 1% COLA, but at least it's something to show we value what you do. Because you do it better than we do it, and I think they should do it more than we do it.
That over 5 years. Interesting concepts. Well, it's not going to happen this year. And who knows what after election, because this is an election year after all this is done.
Yes.
And all of your colleagues are going to have to go home and tell everybody what occurred, explain why it occurred that way, and then if they choose to be reelected, they're going to have to run on that.
Right, and I would just ask people one thing. If you are happy with the way the state of Connecticut has been going, if you're happy with the 2 highest state tax increases in the state's history in the last 5 years, the highest borrowing in the state's history, the most mandates on towns and cities, the inability to protect the safety net, then you should re-elect every person that's there now. But if you're not, I ask them to go to people's websites, see what they stood for, see what they vote for, because clearly what's going on with the leadership in this building is not working.
All of that, quite a rhetorical group of questions, I suspect. Hey, thank you so much for being with us, Themis. That's Minority Leader Themis Klarides.